All right, here we are. It is another day, MLP Shared Journey with Lovable. This is episode number 4 already. We're carving right through. Here we are again, everyone. Welcome to the journey. Anybody that is new, Lovable AI software building platform. We're sharing day by day, and we're going to just show your free quota of 5 messages a day. This is what we get as we work through it. So we're building this clicking app game thing. I think we're going to extend it past a game a little bit today, hopefully. And yeah, we're just going to dive in here. I don't think I'll do as much recap today on what we encountered yesterday and the things that we figured out, but needless to say, we did some adjustments. We got our user menu down here. It's kind of cleaned up in terms of procedure. It's not too obvious until a new person gets to a certain amount, and then, assuming I can remember some of the logins here. I don't know, John at 3, and sign in, invalid credentials. Super official email that we got going on there. I swear we did a John at 3. Okay, well, this is clearly a bad demo of everything now. There, we signed in number 4. 4 was when we left off right at 25, which I think is a great place for us to get into the day, other than the fact that we have some refactoring, some changes to apply, and an error to fix. What I want to do in terms of new functionality and features today, the first thing I want to go after is creating additional themes as we branch through this. So right now it's just fire or ice. You hit that fork in the road and that's it. I want to expand that even further today. So before we get through all of that, I'm going to come in. Even though I don't see any SQL, I'm going to hit apply changes, which let's track this for everyone watching. We're at 5 credits. We hit apply changes and still says 5. I've had some other builds and projects I worked on where it seems like the SQL is taking one of my messages. And I just want to keep a closer eye on that now and see, because there's a couple times I feel like I've lost one. Day 2 recording, I feel like maybe I didn't count right, but I feel like we missed a message. I almost thought we missed one yesterday, but it actually was there when I reviewed the footage, put the chapters in the YouTube video. So now it looks like an issue with the migration. So this makes more sense now. It's like, oh, maybe we needed to give you SQL to review. So now we're going to double check here. 505, hitting apply changes. This time it's working on it. SQL's executed. And this time, okay, still 505. Now the code is mentioned, leader display, click counting, log in, log out. I mean, things were working prior to whatever changes you had. I sure hope that it doesn't break things, because I think everything that we'd asked for except maybe this duplicate user, which, by the way, again, we're logged in as the display name we added yesterday. It's called Johnny Appleseed for this account, and that's me. It's making this extra row for whatever logged in user you have. And maybe it's fixing one. That's one of the things it's fixing right now. But I feel like that was the only real snag that we had left at the end of yesterday. And that we might have been asking it to fix, I think, at the end of the day. Let's look at that stats real quick. So far, it looks like it kept the 25 clicks from yesterday. We can always make a new account that we get up to the 25, fork in the road. I felt pretty good about that. So let's, daily average. But you're counting days that this account didn't exist. That's a bug. Let's go in real quick, though, and let's pick fire. There's 8 clicks or whatever. And it's not doing the daily click correct. This is just a cumulative total, which is in and of itself an interesting stat to track as well. Looks like you finally finished some of what you were working on there. Now there's 3 files to refactor, but there it is. I was going to say there's no error, but there is. Let's go back real quick because I wanted to see, we were talking about something there. Log back into John at 4. We're at 33. We're at the leaderboard stats. We were looking. Oh, by the way, note, I think we cleared up the issue with the duplicate, which is great. It said game state handling, properly reset. I feel like we have to go test everything now again because it said we made changes. I was like, yeah, but it was working before. Maybe it just didn't finish with the SQL, and so it didn't report all of this to me, even though it fixed it yesterday. Fix leaderboard duplicate entry. Yes, you did do that this time. It looks accurate, I think. And just to be sure of that, let's go back into the database here. Go into Supabase. We're looking at the table editor, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different user accounts, and that lines up with the leaderboard. We were seeing 7 people there. Yep, great. The daily is still not tracking correctly. Wow, why is John the greatest at 182? We're not into that account, and it's that's weird. And then, yeah, so I was talking about this whole thing. This could be a totally different graph, and it could be useful in and of itself to see how far did you get over time, right? And it's this cumulative count. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but that is totally different than a daily click history, which would be showing on each day how many clicks did you do. We haven't done 33 clicks today on this account. We did 8, went from 25 to 33. So we might want to call that one out in a minute here. Let's just test this here. Let's do the logout. This looks good. That looked like what I wanted, I think. We're at 7. Now we're going to do jane.com. Okay, put her back there. It looks like maybe we're still handling that. The other thing to check, right? Login, logout seems good. The one other thing is now we're going to make a new account. We're at 6. This time sign up. This one is Bobby. And it's, yeah, Bobby at B. Bobby at 1. It's just easier to track that way. Unexpected error occurred. 6 clicks saved. That's right. We had this going on yesterday where it throws this error like the account didn't get created, but the reality is it did. We can see faintly in the background here that sure enough, it made Mr. BO and he's got 6 clicks. It kept track. That's how far we had gotten. It saved it. We go check in the database and there it is, right? We got Bobby, hasn't reached a theme yet. He's got 6 clicks. So it totally worked. It's just throwing an error and not closing the modal. So I'm going to go ahead and resolve these errors first, and then I'm going to be starting to jot in our prompt here on what these different things are that we want to address before I forget them. Maybe even while it's working there on the errors, I'm going to start typing here. So there's an error when logging in, or actually it's not logging in, right? It's when creating an account. Seems to actually make a new account successfully. The new user is in the database and other functionality is all working correctly. However, the sign up dialog throws an error. The error color doesn't have the best contrast. It's kind of a faint red. That says sign up failed. And the sign up modal doesn't close. It just stays open. Yeah, that's what doesn't close means, right? Meanwhile, it looks like it supposedly took care of the error, but I didn't watch close enough if this is the same one or a different one. We're going to have it try and fix it again here. That's what they do for, I believe the term is vibe coding. I've seen it mentioned in a few different places, and today I just barely looked it up, kind of where it came from, what it means. But more or less, it's focusing, even a developer, say, that comes in and is using a tool like this, is focused less on some of the nitty gritty, time consuming things that development takes, but just a little more free flow, going with the flow, vibe coding, as they call it. So more or less, it's like an error, sweet, you take care of it. We're not going to stress on what that is. Fixed type error in auth modal. I'm actually super curious now. Did that just take care of the error that I was about to report? If so, this time we'll go up to 9. We'll try and make a new account. We're getting really bloated on user accounts here. We might go clear some out. This one's Bobbyson, and this is Bobby at 2. Enter. All right, let's save a message, friends, which we are at 4. Mind you, I haven't typed and submitted anything yet, so I wasn't watching close enough. Sorry I missed it for everybody, but I think it probably was the SQL in here. It shouldn't have been these errors. Level was still advertising in their documentation and explaining that using, as long as it's the wrench button or that fix button that we see, it doesn't count against your message limit. So I think it's the SQL. I think it's when we're running SQL now, those count as messages. Everybody just be advised. So since it fixed that for us, it's ironic. But I guess this was the functionality we expected. We don't even know what the leaderboard is. Bobby was smart enough to figure out, I can sign up before we hit 15. That could just be a matter of we fine tune those thresholds, right? Bobby's chosen the ice path. We're on the leaderboard. There's 9 accounts in the system now. That's correct because we had 7. I just made 2. So the leaderboard's starting to look real. We still have the issue here with the dailies not being tracked correctly. And this stat board. Remember, we're in Bobby now. The other account was the one that went up and down. So let's just address the leaderboard errors for a minute here. The daily totals still aren't seeming to add up correctly. What we want is to track the total number of clicks ever made on user's account, I'm going to say button clicks. That's the all-time tracking. And then the daily clicks is a smaller number, specifically only the number of button clicks that they performed in that given 24-hour period between UTC midnight one day and then UTC the next day. Just to verify here, is this, I mean, let's see, that, oh, it didn't make my new lines for me. There we go. New lines. So I feel like today's clicks in this little menu are incorrect, and I also feel like the today's clicks are differently incorrect in the leaderboard. It'd be good if I remembered some of these user accounts, if I could remember which one was John the Greatest. Mr. Greatest, that's right. We needed to go to, it wasn't putting it in the users table, but it was putting it in this one here. Oh, it's all the way at the end. John the Greatest was John at 2. I think I know the password for that one. Should have been doing the same password for all of these, but and so we were going to go sign out, and then we were going to hop into John 2. Okay. So yeah, he is at 112. All right, whatever it is that's throwing them off, maybe that like it looks like this number does coincide, and I should have checked that before I popped out of Bobby. But we just did Bobby's son. Okay, yeah, no. So the one in the little menu is accurate with what we're seeing going on in this all-time and the daily. The all-time seems to be tracking correctly. I don't think I've seen any issues with that. It's always just been the daily. Daily number seems to be off both in the user menu and in the daily leader. If it's not apparent up front what the issue is with this, with the implementation of daily click tracking, can we just recreate the concept and function all together in the app? And we got enough in here. I'm going to keep it cleaner and simpler, not try and bloat my message too much. While it's working on that, if it clears this up, I did want to consider looking at that chart, but if we fix this error, I hope that fixes the functionality of the daily click tracking as well. 182. And then at least this chart will be accurate. We can come add that cumulative concept at another point in time. What I want to move on is either 1, the whole branching, or 2, sliding things over to a new screen, more or less. And I think I started to write some concepts of that. Either I was thinking it during last episode, or I was thinking about it in between the episodes here. But the new half of the app, once users reach, for now, probably just 50 clicks, I want to have a button that comes in on the side, kind of the way the leaderboard is, still like minimal, subtle. And that allows people to either swipe or click to go over to another half of the app. Looks like we're making some, we'll come back to that concept there because there's a lot that could go into that. But I also forgot, I don't think we refactored any of our files yet. Let's create a function, increment. So it looks like maybe updated correctly, but we need to create a database function to increment daily clicks. So it thinks that it's doing just some fixes for now. We have another unsuccessful build. Note that we did a SQL above, I submitted a message, and then now we've got 3 out of 5, and we're about to apply another SQL change. So let's just, for everyone's sake, we'll track and watch and see what could this result be. While it's working there, back to what we're thinking as we slide over, we've got this other half of the screen. I would love to have some things that are pulling from the rest of the internet, maybe some news or info or data. I would love to have manual counters or trackers that people could do. I think we talked about this a little bit probably back on day 1, but say like I as a user want to track something in my life, then I could count how many glasses of water I have for the day. And so I could set up just this counter with a name and then just have a plus minus on it. And maybe there's a way also to let a user manually enter the number because, or maybe they could even manually set the increment scale because maybe +1 -1 is not enough. So we'll look at some options. We'll get to that. We successfully ran the SQL. It supposedly took care of the code as well. And so, in theory, if we look at the daily, I'm going to think that maybe the numbers are just broken from before because these are in the database, right? And what that would mean is I need to reset all of them right now. And I believe we had, ooh, I don't think this search used to be there. If it was, I missed it. If not, like it's here, it's great. What I want to see is maybe, it's only searching file names. But we talked about a reset, right? It's got some sort of function or process that every day it's going to run the reset on that number. That might be like in our hooks, Supabase integration, maybe. It's tough to say here. And I probably need to get to the point soon in one of these episodes that we hook this up to GitHub. I need to have that kind of like ready, probably before the episode. I have a GitHub account that I can connect us into, and I can demonstrate some things there. We will have some other videos outside of this whole MLP Daily series that will teach and introduce some tips and things, and probably condense it down into a much cleaner, quicker version. If you're watching this, and especially if you've gotten to this point of the video, you're here because we're showing every step of the way. We're going through the whole thing. We're giving it more or less true to form. Like there have been a couple things I've clipped out, like a couple of noises and interruptions, but more or less this is everything in its raw form. So, so we'll have more condensed tips soon down the road. I guess I probably won't look too hard for it, but what I will demonstrate, assuming that it works, is that John the Great is clearly like, we didn't get any clicks yet today. So we're going to come in. We're on his profile. Actually might not be the right place, but we're going to do here. Anyways, we're actually going to manually modify this number in the database. Normally in SaaS apps, people aren't doing this. They're not coming in and modifying the database, but we're testing things for now. So this will hopefully do the trick for us. It reloaded. We're still in as John, but you can see now in our user menu, today's clicks is back down to 0, which is where it should be. Look at our daily. Okay, we're at the bottom of the list. I mean, actually put us on the list with 0. So now we're going to click 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 3, 4, 5. I got out of sync with my mouse. So all time, we're still the highest. Daily, that's weird. It like tripped up on the number because we were totally at 112. Everybody saw that, right? And that we're at 6. Everybody saw it, plus it was recorded. Now this looks correct. Oh, well, yeah, of course. It's pulling from the same number. So let's just like, might have just been a glitch for that single click, I think. Whoa, I saw a little bit of it there as well. I think there's something going on that like I'm clicking faster than the game can handle. You can see some of the number activity there, that it's like flickering, which again, 112 to 160 would be Math Genius's 48. And I bet you daily is way more than 48. So there's another bug. This is great, guys. We're going to have a really hard time getting to our new features when we keep fighting these bugs. And there's something to be said for like having bugs get to a certain point, accepting some of them. It all just depends on the type of bug and how critical it is. There are certain bugs that are more or less like vulnerabilities in applications that they need to be patched and fixed immediately. In some big applications you might be, that you may use. If your email, if Gmail or some big Microsoft thing has, they call it a 0-day. If it has some bug that's that bad, it's got to be fixed immediately, right? If it's some bug that like, oh, this button is purple when it should be red, it's probably important, and it could be very important depending on the app and the situation, but in a lot of cases it's not critical, right? And our daily click count is pretty important, but I only want to go so far, right? Take note, we ran SQL again and it took another message, so we're getting through the messages quickly today anyways, quicker than normal. We've only got 2 left. If I try running something that's going to make SQL changes again, it's probably going to eat up another 2 messages, so we just have to like weigh our choices here. I think I really, really want to add something new, and I'm going to use that on a message right now. And we may end up saving this like second half of the app for tomorrow. I think I'm going to try and implement the additional journey options, right? So I want to extend the themes concept of our game. Can you come up with more branches from the fire and ice paths such that each branch splits into 2 entirely novel themes, and do this for 3 more layers? So it would look like fire plus its 2 children options. I don't know if this wording is going to make sense to it, but we're going to give it a try. For grandchildren, options. And then each of those have 2 options. So then we have 8 great grandchild options with both the fire and ice halves. This means we should have, so if we take 8, 4, 2, that's 6 plus the 1, that's 15. And then the ice is a whole nother 15. We should have 30 total themes in the game, not counting the initial unthemed state. Each theme should be unique in color and style. Oh man, I'm about to ask for it to make a SQL change. Let's just leave it with that. What I want to do eventually is keep track of all the ones that the user's been to, but we're going to introduce a SQL change at that point, right? It needs in the database and Supabase, it needs to be keeping track of, for any user account, which themes have I had, and kind of having a checklist of all of those. And so I don't want to burn our, we've got 2 messages left. And so I want to have a little bit of flexibility depending on what happens with this to have that 1 message left, I think. Let's go with this one. Let's send it. Something else that you can do, and I probably won't do a whole lot of it, especially in the middle of episodes here, somewhat for the time and also like the context switching and stuff, but you might be well off in a lot of cases to be leveraging another AI tool, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini, or maybe your favorite, whichever you might feel inclined to for now, and use that tool to help you write the prompt that you want. You can explain in very unstructured, loose words to that AI assistant, and it can help you put it in much more clear and concise words. Lovable, and technically any AI tool is obviously going to have some level of ability to interpret, make things up, fill gaps, but there are also going to be times that it needs explicit instructions. And the more that you can describe and the more accurately that you can communicate to it, the better chance you have of successful results, right? And there will be times that you do have strong expectations, and there will be times that you don't. This is an example where I'm not particular about what our other themes are going to be. I am particular about how many they are and how it flows, the fact that they are branching, and I didn't get maybe explicit enough. I hope it understands that I start moving down a path, I can't go back, right? I can't choose. And in some ways, this is something that maybe needs to reset daily, because then somebody will never, ever be able to get to something down the ice if they chose fire, and it just gets further, right? That's life. You make choices today, and everything you do now affects your future. You can't go back. So we could look at some fun ways of like implementing some of that. But anyways, I'm hoping that it can come up with some good, unique themes on its own. I didn't have strong expectations there. And so I didn't have to be specific, and I'm hoping it interprets and comes up with something nice. But then there are other times you do want it to be a specific way. You have strong expectations. And so in those cases, you should be very clear and concise and articulate very well what you want. So the AI, you feed it into Chat GPT or whoever, Perplexity, whichever, that will oftentimes help you come up with better prompts, because you can speak more loosely with that. Tell it what you're doing, and it will help turn maybe broken sentences or unclear sentences or incomplete thoughts or ideas into something more thorough. And oftentimes they're even going to be prompting you and saying like, do you want to extend this, or do you want to make any adjustments, or need any help with X, Y, or Z? And the great thing is too, is you can have a conversation with them and get tweaks to your prompt before you come in here and use these limited messages. Obviously those other platforms have paid options as well, and sometimes that might be worth it and that might help you. But in general, at least to just clean up your prompt, you know, more or less getting that help for free on the side there. So something to consider. I have been doing that, especially for my very first prompt on other apps that I've been building and starting. It would definitely be something like in this current state that would be tedious for us to do for every single message. But we've got this implementation here, and I realized that I did not, and I thought this in my head and I just forgot to write it, that I did not specify when do we switch to these themes. We are clearly at 160 on this account, and I did see the background changed a little bit. Maybe it's accommodating more colors because there's all kinds of themes now. Likely we don't see any indication yet because none of these accounts have reached those points. So if we read what it says, it's got a type system, all the relationships, visual styling and gradients for each icon. There's a theme selector. Ooh, I didn't ask for that, but I'm intrigued by it. Keeping track here, we got 1 prompt left. Updated background particle effects, each theme style, a progression system where users unlock more advanced themes as they accumulate clicks. So that's looking pretty fine and dandy. Okay, so I really, oh, build was unsuccessful. We're gonna have to check on that error, but I really want to see what these themes are. I'm really curious about this like whole theme selector. Looks like the error, assignable, okay, whatever. Vibe coding, try and fix it for me, please. But we are gonna log out of this one, which was John the Greatest. And then, I mean, heck, even if I don't log in, which I don't have to bloat my accounts, maybe 25. And obviously, it's still working on that error, but okay, so we've picked ice. That was at 25. The system maybe assumed. Nope. I thought maybe 50. Evolution available. Oh, wait, what? That's not even what I expected at all. How do I evolve my ice? Do I have to log in? Oh, what has it done to my game? This is trippy, my friends. I need an instruction manual. It's building the app, but it's not telling me like how to play. New guy. And we're just gonna go back to John at, let's just do new guy at 1. Maybe that's the easiest way to keep track of all these names. You're signing up. No error there. Took us out. That was nice. 64. It saved us. It's a little obnoxious that it puts a toast every time. I click ice. How do I evolve my ice? Oh man. Where do I get to this? No, click on the toast. Huh. Well, this is gonna take some exploring. If I wonder if we come into the database, it's got the same tables here, click history, and our profiles. I doubt it's gonna be defined in here. Let's look at it this way. So when we asked the change, it created expanded themes files. So okay, here it gave us theme types. Fire children have Inferno and Solar. That's awesome. And then Inferno children has Volcanic and Hellfire. This is amazing. It came up with these unique theme names. So cool. If only I could find them like through the interface and through the game. Theme data here. So unlock at 25 for fire and ice. 50. Okay, yeah. So it unlocks at 50 for the next level. 100 for level 2 children. There's so many of them. There should be 8. Yeah, 200. I'm okay with these numbers and everything. It's got these text descriptions. So I'm super jazzed by, in theory, what it came up for us, what it came up with for us. But I just want to see it in the app. How do I evolve, right? Looks like it has icons for everything. It's like mountain, flame, sparkle. Those could be cool. We've got the theme button. It'd be great if I could find, let's see if we can just use the browser here and we just find like the words evolve. These are organized in progression, each one. Okay, but how do I evolve? You know, like evolve is not found. Evolution is, it's not showing up for me anywhere. Supposedly there's like new particle effects and everything. Get theme info, return. No, I really don't want to use a message just to ask it like, hey, how do I evolve in this system? I think what we're gonna need to tell it anyways is my intention was not that. Yeah, let's see if we can fix. So when we go back all the way to 25, it gives us the split, and I wanted to change the animation. Let's see if we can do that at the same time, telling it that, because this is in context, less likely to confuse the AI. If we can tell it in context that we want that behavior at every branching point from children, grandchildren, and everything. Let's see if we can give that a try here. All right. Can we fix the animation at 25 clicks where the fire and ice button options are presented? Functionally, everything stays the same. We just want the animation to look more like going from the single button that then physically, it's not really physically, but maybe that word helps us here describe it. It splits from one that, let's just say, and I spelled it wrong, that then grows wider to the point that it splits into the two different buttons, fire and ice. And then at every evolution point after this, can we have the same animation apply, presenting the user with the two evolution choices present on their given path and point in their journey based on their past choices and their number of clicks so far. Okay, good. I want to make sure I get this right. We're fixing the animation where it's got fire and ice. We're keeping it functionally the same. We just want the animation different in this case. Going from a single grows wider, splits into two. And then we want this same behavior, this same splitting to happen at every single point on either path, anytime they're given a choice. This should be the mechanism for how a user evolves their theme. They should have buttons to click and choose at every branching point. Which hopefully by nature, this should just get rid of also the thing where we had like the toasts that kept popping up that was a little bit obnoxious on every click. And by nature of like, you have a choice and you got to pick one at that point. Hopefully that takes care of things. We'll give this guy a run and see what we get. Awkward silence here as I just sit and wait. Could engage with my live audience right now, but you know, um, it's kind of quiet at the moment. They're not asking any questions. So we do have this live stream. Currently, the way we're doing it is that it's live streaming on our Discord community as well. And if you're in the Discord community, especially when we end the session, there's a little bit of Q&A time left, and you can ask questions then. So there's a lot of other things going on in the Trustybits Discord server right now. We're launching projects soon. Rather, we're in the process of forming and starting the first two projects that we have. These are projects that are real products, real applications that people looking to bridge their career in design or product or development, that they can be part of these teams, part of these projects that have real users, real metrics, and that those are, reportable on, say, like a resume or a portfolio. And it's that much more solid. It's that much more influential and convincing to a business. This is my shameless self-advertisement, but it was silent. We were just waiting for the code, right? Like, gotta say something here. But it's an excellent opportunity for people that are looking to stand out better, because you start to talk numbers and users and business metrics, and that speaks to people, even UX people that happen to be managers or hiring people, right? Or developers that happen to be development minded, or whoever it is, right? The more that you can have these numbers and express to a business, like this is like how I've been able to impact some bottom line or some top line somewhere before, right? Like the influence and impact that I've had. So we didn't do any refactoring today. I feel like, messages went quick. We ran out of them much quicker today than normal. But let's give a refresh here because it's looking a little weird. I like what I see for a moment in terms of like the way it feels that it was splitting for us, but it looks like we're in a buggy state maybe because we hit that 50 and we didn't get to choose. So I'd really love to maybe just sign out. Try this from a user account that's not logged in. We got fire and ice. Let's choose. Man, yeah. It definitely, you can see it there. It does the split, but now we're in a broken state and we're out of messages for the day. Oh, what a horrible, like it's not ending on an error, which like I'd love to kind of just keep a count. I need to go back on previous days and count how many times we end on an error. Because then you're just in the, like, potentially in this busted state. This isn't an official error or a build error, but it's functionally a bug, and the game just doesn't work at all now. I bet you if we go log into any other account, it's going to give us like this. We're going to be stuck in this as well. Let's do a refresh. I just want to watch it again. So when we get to 25, it did a whole bunch of stuff there. We'll choose ice this time. Yeah, and there shouldn't be an evolution available yet. Obviously, right? We needed to get to 50 was the number that we saw when we were perusing the code earlier. So we definitely got some things to fix for tomorrow, but we like at least tried to start implementing some new functionality. I felt like almost all of yesterday was just fixing stuff for where we were supposed to be making, and then today started just making small tweaks, but getting caught up in fixing stuff. So at least we added something new, and there's more things to fix, but we can work on it, gradually. So it's been interesting with this app. Everything else that I've been building is more typical SaaS with just more regular kind of styled interfaces and things you would expect to see. This is the only one I've been working on that's more of a game. And I definitely would say I've seen some different behavior, ran into some different kinds of issues and things. There's obviously overlap. It's still lovable. It's still software and code and interface. But there's definitely some differences. So I'm still happy with what we've got. I think overall it looks and feels pretty good. Plenty of things that could still be tweaked, but but we'll carry on. Thanks again for tuning in. This was episode 4, day 4 of working through our daily message limit on Lovable. Hope everybody's enjoying and learning from this. Keep building. Feel free to comment if you're working on any projects in Lovable. Share them in the comments. Send them our way. I'd love to see what you guys are doing. And everybody, stay frosty, have fun, and later.